Welcome back to Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the best from the world of CrossFit. Podcasts, news, special interest, health, fitness. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifier so you're the first to know when we have new episodes. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I am the Clydesdale. She is Amy Radowski. The other she is Kat Shear. And the other she is our special guest and longtime friend, Ehea Schuerch. E, how are you? Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, she's smiling.
She's smiling.
Shit. This is why
so we've
we
had a few technical difficulties with this. And that's why we're a little bit late. We thought we had it resolved, and now we just have a frozen E.
Oh, sad.
It is. But it does a lot.
But we are so pumped to be with you today. It has been a crazy week. I am super excited just to get back to an old-fashioned podcast episode with one of our guests, if we can get her to unfreeze.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to take her off. Oh, yeah. She'll be back.
Okay.
Take 4. So what's up? Workouts?
Friday.
Talk about workouts?
Okay. Yeah. Talk about workouts.
Go ahead, Aim.
So today I did we're working on drop sets for strength. So we did strict press. So I did an 8-rep max strict press and then 2 drop sets after that of 8 to 10 reps. And then we went into a team WOD of double unders, wall walks, and overhead walking lunge. So actually that one was really fun. It wasn't terrible.
Ooh, wall walks and overhead.
Well, yeah, a lot of shoulder today.
That's sucky.
Yeah.
There she is.
She is here now.
Okay, you want to try it again?
Yeah, we'll try it again.
Here we go. We're live.
Oh, we are? Okay,
We're
good.
just talking about our workouts. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So, I'm back. So I did switch the laptop. That was better. And then the computer just died. So we went and got the charger. So now we should be, not going to touch anything. Nothing's going to happen. We'll be okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Love it. Cool.
Oh, E, I was doing a show the other day and looked down and I was at like 3% battery with like 5 minutes to go. And I was just like, ooh, I just got to hang on. Just got to hang on. And thank goodness it did. But as soon as it was over, I went out and had to text Kat and like, I just lost battery.
Oh, yeah. We lost it. Like backstage, you were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technology is one of those things. It's so good, right? But then when it doesn't work right, it can be just disastrous. Yeah. Luckily, it was just like a simple fix and nothing too crazy.
Exactly.
All right.
Everybody needs a good IT guy on staff, you know?
Yeah, that was Teresa. I was like, quick, get the charger.
Well, before we get into TTG and the tactical stuff, how is Teresa?
She's doing great. I don't know if she'll pop on camera, but she, at the moment, she's taking down our festive, like fall stuff, and we're going to start putting up Christmas decorations soon.
Yep.
What are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Do you have any cooking plans?
Yeah, they will be going over to her sister's. Unfortunately, I work. That's actually pretty usual. So I'll be working Thanksgiving, but I will have Black Friday off. So I'll try to do Thanksgiving with my family, with Teresa on that day. So I still get a Thanksgiving, just not on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Do you get to bake anything special? Anything fun?
I don't know if we're doing any desserts, but she will be doing, babe, what are you doing? Like, oh, she just left. Probably like green bean casserole. They all split up different things, but we will do Christmas baking soon. So we'll do a bunch of cookies and different things, and we'll hand them out to friends and family. So that's probably one of our most favorite things to do during the holiday seasons, other than making soup, because it's soup season in the Schuerch house.
Yeah,
we make soup all like winter, fall long. It's a staple in the house.
I'm generally not a soup guy, but man, I've wanted it lately. It is so freaking cold here in Ohio right now.
Snowed
My
today.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cold here too, for sure. We got a little bit of snow. Like it blizzard right when we got back from nationals. It was snowing as soon as we touched down, which was crazy because it was like 80-degree weather in Texas, and then we fly in and it's like blizzarding. We're like, oh my gosh, what do we come home to? Like, it's crazy. And it hasn't snowed in probably a week and a half, but it's been cold, so the snow has stuck around.
So my last question before we get into the other stuff is, each time we talk to you, you seem to be in a different place in the progress of getting a new job. Are you there? Have you moved to the
No, I haven't moved.
No.
I'm trying. Oh yeah. No. Unfortunately, so I did look into, so remember how I was looking into fire? I went and did my EMT and I got that done, certified. However,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it was probably the biggest accomplishment I felt like in my life that I had completed, even bigger to me than like making it to the CrossFit Games, because like EMT school, I was like, I'm not really sure if I will be the best at like medical stuff, even though it interested in me, but I did good. So I felt really proud of myself for completing something like that. But anyway, so I was starting to apply to firehouses, and then they started mandating that you had to be vaccinated. And without getting too political, I was just like, I'm not doing that.
I don't want to make that choice. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I just don't like that, why do you have to force us to do it? So I was just like, if some people want to be vaccinated, that's fine, but I don't want to be. And so that kind of put everything on hold. And in Washington State, not a fan of our governor, but he has mandated all kinds of things. Like a lot of the Washington State Patrol guys lost their jobs because he was able to mandate them have to be vaccinated. And a lot of people didn't want to be vaccinated. So kind of hurting in some of those areas for like civil service work.
Yeah.
So there are jobs out there, but you have to be vaccinated in order to get them.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So
I know.
did look
I think in the state
into-
of Delaware, they did that, and then somebody, like some Supreme Court of the state, overturned all of that, and so like all the nurses and everybody else that lost their jobs they have to get rehired now.
Oh, that's good. That'd be great, because our fire department is really hurting. And so there's opportunities for people that are vaccinated to get a job, but what about all the guys that put in years of work that were fired? I think that if they were to overturn that, I think that they should rehire them. I'd still like to apply, but they should get rehired. But
I'll just say, if my house is on fire, the last thing I'm checking is your vaccination status. You know what I'm saying?
Care.
Like, does the hose work? That's more important to me than your vaccination status. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks. I did look into some of our patrol spots around here, but they don't like the tattoo that I have on my neck here, and the ones that I have on my hands. So that disqualified me, which is crazy. But
in 2022,
yeah, that's up to them. I mean, so I think that it's becoming more modern, and there are more and more like police departments around the nation that are changing that, because they realize like we need to get with the times. Not all tattoos are bad. Not all people with tattoos are bad people, I guess. Just, I don't know.
You're not in a gang.
Yes, well, I'm not in a gang.
All four of us have tattoos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, tat it up.
Yeah, it's the placement. So like in certain places, they don't want you to have them. I mean, there's even police departments around here that don't want men to have facial hair. You can't have facial hair.
That's actually Columbus, City of Columbus. I did a ride along, and that was one of the things that you could be grandfathered in if you had tattoos or certain things, or if you couldn't shave because you had an acne problem, there was a exemption. But that's City of Columbus too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Murph
right
disagrees
now,
too.
Yeah. So right now I am where I am, but it's okay. So I made our CRT team, which was a big deal. I decided since I was going to stay, I might as well like invest a little bit more, grow myself, there. And so CRT is our corrections response team. It's kind of like a version of like SWAT for police. So we have our CRT team. So anytime like there's something going wrong in the jail or it's more dangerous, they'll send in the CRT team. And so they'd never had a female before in the history of the jail. So I tried out twice and I made it the second time.
Good for you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So,
Is that
so just for our audience,
being on that team? Go ahead.
No, finish up, Kat.
Being on that team, does that mean that your shifts are different, or is that just sort of like an ancillary thing to your normal job? Like you have your normal shifts, and then if something happens, you kind of get like deployed into that role.
Yeah, so it's extra. So a lot of
Got it.
times I'm working my days off for training, or I'm working a lot of overtime to make training, or anytime we have what we call a call out, something's going on. Sometimes the police department will activate us because they want something called mobile booking. So there might be not necessarily a riot, but maybe something going on downtown, a group of unruly people. And so the police want to be able to do police work. And once they arrest somebody, they don't want to be taking their guys to transfer them to the jail. So they deploy us, and we'll come out, and we have our group of guys and our like mobile booking stations, like which are big vehicles that we can put arrested people into, and then we can book them mobilely, like on like a laptop or something, or a device, and then take them back to the jail. So we do stuff like that. We do stuff if there's a very violent person and they don't want to cooperate or come out of their cell or something like that, we have to go in and extract them. If there was a riot in the jail, we would do the riot in jail. We just actually had riot training, riot module training just this week, which was actually a lot of fun. It was cool. So we do stuff like that.
You're such a badass.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah. So for our audience, E works in the prisons as a guard. And now she's elevated to this new CRT status, which Kat said badass. I'm going to share my screen because on your Instagram, and this will get us into the TTG stuff real quick. If I had a picture that made me look as badass as you do in this picture, I would blow it up as a poster.
That's
and
pretty
it
awesome.
would be like on my wall.
You know, my brother-in-law took that.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a great picture.
He lives in Phoenix, and so that's one of the reasons why I went to Phoenix to compete. And he just does photography as like a hobby, and he just asked if he could take some photos for me, and I said, of course. So he did some good shots, didn't he?
Yeah, I did.
Those are awesome. You know, and you're wearing gloves in that picture. Why couldn't you, in that police job, wear gloves and like a little mock turtleneck?
That's a very good question, Kat.
I would like to know.
Yeah.
I'm writing. Who do I write my letter to?
Yeah, I asked them. It was so quickly, right? So not to make it too long of a story. I was doing really good in the process. I was supposed to get a call back saying that I was moving further in the process, and everything looked really good. Then I got the day I was supposed to get a phone call saying I was like moving on, I got a phone call that said that the chief of police had seen me, and he decided no because of my tattoos. And the thing you have to understand is you can go through the entire hiring process, and if the chief decides just no, it's just no. And he has the right to, right? It's his department. And so he wants a certain, like, it's more conservative over here. And so I think maybe sometimes they're worried that maybe somebody would see the tattoo on my neck and think of this person's a bad person or like a gang member, and why, like we have more conservative people that live here. So I get that. I understand that. And that's his rule to have. But I did ask about like, could I cover them up? And I believe that they just said, we would have to write that into our policy in order to make it okay, because they're worried that other people would want to get tattoos on their neck or something like that. Sure. And so they just were like, we don't have that written into our policy at the moment. The chief was actually really nice and recently relaxed the tattoo policy, because before it was if you had them on your arms that you had to cover them on your arms. But he just relaxed that, saying, no, you don't have to cover them anymore if they're on your arms. They did come back.
Like a fun guy.
Yeah, I think he's actually, I think in his defense, I think that he is actually a very good guy.
He's taking baby steps.
Yeah, taking baby steps. And I don't fault him, because I've lived here my whole life and I do understand that. And SPD is where I want to be mostly. I'm just hoping that they'll relax it a little bit more, and then I could apply again. But they did come back to me and say that they had done this waiver, and they were like, if you can have them removed by the time you would finish academy, then it would be okay and you could get hired. And I just very politely was like, I already looked into this because this is my career, and I think I don't want to remove them, but I would remove them to get this job. But it takes like 9 to 12 to 15 sessions, and each session is like 4 to 6 weeks of healing time. And I was like, it's almost nearly impossible for me to have them completely removed by the time the end of academy would be. And the guy was just kind of like, well, I let you know, we were just supposed to let you know, like, because he can't do anything, right? So
yeah. So did you get through in the process? Did you get through the lie detector test?
Oh no, I wasn't even at the lie detector test for SPD.
So you never got there. Okay.
I was in background. Yeah.
Got it.
I was in background. That would be the next thing that I was supposed to do.
Okay. Gotcha.
And for people who are listening, and this may be the first time meeting you, you live in Spokane, Washington.
Yes, I do live in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah. So
Which
that is
on
the S
side.
in SPD.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for Spokane Police Department. So, but yeah, so we live on the east side of Washington, really close to the border of Idaho. So I'm actually like 10 minutes from the border. So I go into Idaho all the time, over to Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls. So we frequent that area as well.
Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
Is that where your favorite CrossFit athlete works out, Scott?
Wait, what? Oh, are you talking about Kat?
No, Tia.
No, she's in Iowa.
A Masters athlete. Oh, I thought her box is called Coeur d'Alene CrossFit. I thought.
You're gonna make me blush here, and hey, getting all nervous.
Sorry, never mind. I didn't. We're off track.
Oh, I thought you guys were talking about Katrin. Her, I don't know. I think her boyfriend lives in Coeur d'Alene, so she was here this summer.
Oh, does he?
Mm-hmm. Just like working out with Cole, because Cole lives right down the street from me, so I see Cole all the time. Yeah.
Do you guys ever work out together?
Sometimes. I mean, if I texted him, Cole would text me right back and be like, "Oh yeah, let's get together." So he would look, but we just kind of work our own schedules. Right now with TTG, I only go to the CrossFit gym maybe once a week. For a second there, I wasn't going at all. I was just staying in my garage because, not to share all my secrets, but I like to work out and then I like to dry fire when my heart rate's up.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
So I don't want to be waving around a pistol even without ammunition at the gym.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird.
Yeah, the cops might get called on me.
Yeah.
And with this tattoo on my neck, I look like
definitely a gangster.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm probably.
And your hands. And your hands.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Honestly, they would probably just be like, "What are you doing?" Because they know me. They see me all the time.
Yeah. So we're moving into that. So TTG, or the tactical games. I know there's the other T stands for something, but this is an avenue that a lot of CrossFit athletes have kind of jumped into. And when I heard you were doing this, I was like, man, that is just like the perfect fit for E.
That's right.
So can you explain to us what it is and why you decided to take the leap into this?
Yeah. So TTG is the tactical games. That's what it stands for.
That's what I thought the other T was for.
Very simple.
Scott's like, the other T stands for something.
But so it's basically fitness and firearms, right? I believe it was started in 2019. That's when I was actually told about it by a CrossFit friend when I was in Georgia, over at Training Think Tank in the summer. And it's just awesome. So it's 2 guns. So it's pistol and it's rifle. I shoot an AR-15. Mine shoots 5.56, but we can also shoot 2.23. And I run just a basic Glock.
What does that mean?
It's the caliber. Sorry. So
5891.
I warned you that we were very novice in this area.
Okay, yeah. So was I. So I'm sorry. I just don't even think I didn't even think about it. So yeah. So my rifle is an AR rifle, and the caliber of bullet that it can shoot is something called 5.56, and it's like the size of the bullet.
Okay.
And then, but 5.56, like a barrel that it can go through or whatever, it can also shoot 2.23. And per the tactical games rules, you can also shoot, I think, 300 blackout. But I think those, now don't quote me on this because I'm still kind of novice myself, but I think those are like the main ones that people use. But I think that might be the only ones that you're allowed to use. I know that people, well, yeah, I think people will, what's it called? They'll reload their own ammunition so they can like differentiate the weight and stuff like that. But there is rules on that, but that's way above my knowledge. I don't reload my own ammunition, but some people like to do that because you can like specify the bullet for your gun and it can be more accurate or something like that is how I understand.
Is that, I was gonna ask, the difference in the ammunition is it like how heavy the gun is and how accurate you can shoot? Because what other reason would there be for you to use different kinds of ammunition, and except for trying to do damage to the person that you're trying to shoot, which you're not doing. So
yeah, so how I understand it is so the lighter the bullet, the more like gravity and wind will play on it, right? When it goes further. Sure. So and it just depends on your barrel too, like the twist in your barrel. I think mine's 1-6. But see, I'm novice too, okay? But I think mine's 1-6, and the barrel spin in your barrel will have an effect on the bullet when it flies through, when it goes through the barrel. And so I know that some ammunition is better than others. And right now, even though I have the ability to shoot 5.56, I shoot 2.23, and it's 55 grain. And so the grain is the weight of the bullet, which also affects the bullet. There's like a ton of things that go into this, and I'm still learning. So
the spin is like throwing a football, right? If you have a really good tight spiral, the ball is more accurate and it goes further. If you lose that spiral and it becomes what they talk about a duck, right? It loses its accuracy and it doesn't go near as far. And that's how it was explained to me when I was doing like hunter safety in Pennsylvania back in the day.
There we go. That's good. Perfect. Thank you. And then I just know
the
that
the tighter that spiral is coming out, the better, because it makes it more accurate.
So, but that's what I shoot. So I guess let me try to get back on topic. So TTG that's what it is. So you have two guns. So you have pistol and you have rifle. And then you basically go through, it's usually like they have regional events throughout the year. And then they have nationals at the very end, which is like the CrossFit Games. It's like the big one. And so I went, each regional event is 2 days long and it's 6 events. And then there are, 3 events a day. And then there's usually one aggregate, which is a shooting only event. And it's sometimes it's quick shooting or just more technical or reload fast. Like it's usually very fast. And then you will have one physical floater event where it's only a fitness event. And so you can gain points in both of those. And they do try to test different facets. Like I guess, because most of the events are about 12 minutes long. And the way they have it set up is so that they can run on a schedule on time. And that could change in the future. But right now, they usually are about 12 minutes long, or that's what they have time for. So sometimes they shorten it. But usually they have one really long event, which can be 30 minutes above. At Nationals, it was like 2 hours. It was like a long run. Yeah. And then you shoot. They tell you what the workout is, what the work will be, and then they tell you what your firing sequence is. And so you will shoot your ammunition. They might say it's 3x5 rifle and 3x5 pistol, which means I have 3 magazines for pistol, 3 magazines for rifle, and 5 rounds in each magazine. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then they will say your sequence of fire is, you have to shoot from, because we are always shooting compromise. You're always shooting behind barricades or in compromised positions. And then you're compromised because you're tired as well. So they'll tell you there's paint marked on each of these ports of the barricade. So since you have 3 magazines, you have to shoot 1 magazine out of this port, second round, a magazine out of this port, third round, magazine out of this port. Sometimes they make it more confusing and they'll be like, you know, maybe it's 3x6 and they'll say, you have to shoot 2 rounds here, 2 rounds here, 2 rounds here. And that's your 6 bullets. And if you forget to move, that's like a miss.
Ooh.
Oh.
And your judge will mark that. So it can be confusing. Like I used to be like in CrossFit when they would explain the workout and you'd be like, okay, I have to remember to do this and do that. And at this time, do that. And I'm like, I feel like this was even harder to remember. Wow. Everything that they want you to do, because you do all the work and you have to remember the work and what you're allowed to do, what you can't do, how it's supposed to be. And then you have to remember your firing sequences as well so that you don't get a miss. And so the scoring is, they will take the fastest time and then they will add up your misses for your shots because they'll know. And then each miss is 10 seconds added to your time. So you can be really good at fitness, but a really bad shot. And a person that's not so good at fitness, but a better shot could beat you. If that makes any sense.
So what's the qualification process like for these events?
So right now, because it's still growing and it's actually kind of growing fast, you can just enter in to a regional event.
Okay.
And you just get to pick your division. So they have all different divisions. So they have intermediate for people that are a little bit more novice or maybe just want to get their feet wet and try a couple of things before they want to move up. They have elite, obviously, and the difference between the two is usually weights. But the firing sequences are the same. So everybody shoots the same. They also have a tactical division, which is really cool, I thought. It's more for the guys and gals in law enforcement / military that have everyday jobs that want to do something fun and something maybe to up their training for their careers, but don't want to just kill themselves physically. So they can compete against each other and they get to, actually now everybody gets to use red dots except elites. So, because before it was just, you could use a red dot on your pistol, which is I guess I could, if you don't know what that is, I can explain that too, but it's an easier way to, it's an optic that goes on your pistol. So
okay.
I guess I have my gun here.
It's like a laser, correct?
It's like a sight, right? It helps you sight.
So mine just has iron sights. So there's nothing on it. So these are the iron sights. These are your back sights. And then this is your front sight. But a red dot.
Is that a Glock?
Yeah, it's a Glock. This is what I run. This is a Glock 17.
I'm getting a Glock 43.
Oh yeah, Glock 43. I have a Glock 43. Are you getting the Glock 43X?
She doesn't know that.
No, it's my dad's gun. He's going to transfer ownership of it to me. But we went to the range last weekend, and he had a pistol and that Glock, and I preferred the Glock so much more than the pistol. Way easier to.
I don't know why I find it.
A revolver. Did he have a revolver and a Glock?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because we could talk about all kinds of things, but it's funny because people will say, a revolver is better for a first-time user because you don't have to worry about safeties. You don't have to worry about racking anything. It's just like ready to go and you get so many rounds. But my wife Teresa preferred the Glock too. So that's why we got a Glock.
He told me, he was really good. He said, I want you to try both and decide what you're more comfortable with. Because I'm going to actually apply for concealed carry in my state because of my gym. I'm here very early in the morning and very late at night all by myself. So just for my protection. But it's been fun.
More responsible gun owners out there because there's always going to be bad people with guns, and the only way to stop bad people with guns is good people with guns. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, girl, that's awesome. I can't wait to hear how it goes for you.
Yeah, I'll be in touch for sure.
But anyway, so red dot just goes on this, and then you look through the glass, and it has like a little laser, and it helps you. It's pretty spot on. You zero it, and then you put the laser on the target and fire, and as long as you have a good trigger press, you'll hit. So I was reading through
some of the requirements to go elite or tactical or intermediate, and they have like weights that are the max. Just like if you go to a CrossFit competition locally, they'll tell you like to be in this division, you need to be able to snatch 95 pounds or whatever. This was more about sandbag weights, but yet I saw pictures of people carrying barbells. So as a former CrossFit athlete, do you get more excited when you see the weights go up?
Of course I do.
Right.
Okay.
Of course. What a silly question.
Of course I love to see the weights go up. But I do have to say, I'm learning that it's so just like CrossFit, where you needed to be a good, like, you need to be nice and rounded with all the things, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of similar with this sport. So it's not the greatest to be only really good at fitness and not a good shot. And I mean, you might fare better to be a good shot and not so great at fitness, because it is more of a 60-40 sport. 60% shooting, 40% fitness. So even when I see those heavyweights, sometimes you need to be like, if I push really hard and I get those, or I get them in the later rounds, is that going to affect
It
my
might
shooting?
cost you. Yeah. On the
Is that going to affect my breathing? Is it going to affect my shooting? What is the best strategy for me? Because the best strategy for me might not be the best strategy for somebody else. If that makes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like to see the weights go up.
What is the hardest thing you had to learn or are still learning?
I think for me, it's the aggregate shooting. And actually, no, learning my rifle wasn't very hard, but I didn't know. So I only started shooting my rifle at the beginning of this year, like in March, I think. But I think it's aggregate shooting. It's the quick shooting that you do. I guess they'll be like so many targets, and they'll be like, you're going to start with both your rifle loaded and your pistol loaded. You'll have your and they'll give you all the information, like your rifle is going to be, at the low ready, your pistol will be holstered. You'll have 2 extra magazines, and there's a certain amount of rounds, and they'll be like, you have to shoot this, and it has to be here, and then you have to move, and you have to reload, and then shoot, and then get your pistol out, and then shoot and reload, and it's fast. And so there are people that have been doing this kind of like, your professional competition shooters, like your 2-gun, 3-gun people that are very good at, they understand this concept, moving fast, shooting fast, and being accurate at the same time. So for me, I was like, I need to work on that a lot. So I keep up with my fitness, but mostly I'm practicing shooting and moving and shooting and stuff.
So, I mean, I have so many questions. This just fascinates me.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let's tell the people, you went to nationals this year, and what place did you take?
I took 2nd place.
Yeah. At nationals, 2nd place, and self-admitted a very novice person in this field.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think the competition is going to rise as the sport grows and gets older, and you're going to have to rise with it?
Absolutely. Like even right now, the people I meet, so, the community at TTG is like amazing. CrossFit community is awesome too, but the TTG, maybe because it's so grassroots right now, like everybody is so willing to help everybody out.
Mm.
Now on competition days, like maybe some people are, not trying to tell you all their secrets, but
Sure.
everybody's very supportive of one another, even the competitors, because I mean, at the end of the day, your best versus my best, right? But yeah, I can already see the people that came into the sport that were more shooters. They are upping their fitness levels. They're getting into CrossFit gyms. They're using the TTG training programming that's put out. I can't remember his last name, but it's Zach. He was a big time, worked for CrossFit, worked at headquarters, and now he is helping out with TTG stuff. So he's very knowledgeable in functional fitness. And so he creates their programming. Jacob Hetner created Grit Tactical, which is something that I like to follow. And so there's programming out there for the people that need a little bit more fitness. And I can see it, like, people are posting their stuff up on Instagram, and everybody's like lifting heavier sandbags, trying to do more deadlifts, get the big lifts in, get the back squats in, stuff like that, so they can get stronger. And then there's only a few of us more CrossFitters are coming into the sport, but there's only a few of us right now. So like there's like
Margot.
me, Margot, Jacob, Kalarina Key. And so we are, I would assume we are more working on our shooting to try to up our deficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it is rising, and I think that the shooting will only get harder, but to be equal, I think that the fitness will only get harder too.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've understood, people were saying like last year, because I wasn't there last year, they said it's changed drastically in the fitness level and difficulty in shooting already. So, oh yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is it Jake?
Yes. So I believe he does, he sets up a lot of the stuff and does like the programming. I believe he's in charge of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Jared's the owner. Roe, I usually see doing a lot of the photography stuff. He's like in charge of media, I believe. And Nick is the president, which cool thing about Nick is he was kind of my like, back when I was competing in CrossFit, he was working with my partner sponsor, Arcanum. And so he was like my go-to to talk to them. And then he kind of got into this and reached out to me again and was like, hey, I think that you should look into this. And I was like, that's funny because Kalarina told me the same thing in 2019.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I just wanted to show too, there are a ton of divisions. There's a team division. There are masters divisions, as well as what you already described with intermediate, tactical, and
Yes.
elite.
Yeah. They've been pushing for more masters, which is good because there's lots of people out there that are still very fit and that are really good shooters, right? That have put years into shooting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great that they are opening up those other divisions too. And I hear team is a lot of fun.
So are there any like parameters or like rules against like law enforcement officers participating in this? Or, I mean, I guess that could be based on each division, but I didn't know if the tactile games or, had any kind of parameters with that.
No.
Okay.
I don't. Anybody can compete. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's why they made like the tactical division was more in thinking about them specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
Police and military and stuff like that.
Because I love that aspect of that would encourage those responders to continue their fitness.
Yes.
Which I think is a piece that's lacking in a lot of departments over the states.
Absolutely. Yeah. I believe that's why they did it too, because there are people out there that want to challenge themselves and they just they are already yearly, monthly practicing their farms. They're doing their qualifications. They're staying fit for their job. They're staying fit to be on the SWAT team or to be on the CRT team. Like, you want to be the best version of yourself so that you can protect the public. And so it's kind of nice that you're like, wow, all these things that I've been training for all these years, I can actually use and apply and have some fun and be in a sport. So I think that was very much in their minds when they were creating these other divisions.
So here, like when you look at women's elite, it tells you kind of like the minimum you have to be able to do to compete in that. And so I had a question about this. It says ability to run a sub 10-minute mile in full kit or 9:05 slick.
Yes.
Never heard the term slick before. Does that mean just without the kit?
Yep, without all your stuff on. So anytime you are doing anything in a battle or any fitness, you always have something on. So like the long runs that we will do, we'll shoot and then we'll run and you have your pistol on you, you have your magazines on you, you have your just everything else. Usually sometimes they make you run with your rifle. So you have to decide, are you going to strap it on your back? Are you going to carry it as you run in your hands? Like what do you want to do? Sometimes they let you put your rifle down, but then you run with everything else. And then slick would just be nothing. So can you just run your body weight?
So the other thing on here that I have a question about is the A zone and C zone. And you have to have an 80% accuracy rate in those two zones.
Let's see. 80% accuracy, A zone at 15 yards of pistol. Okay. C zone. So, so I know that, that refers to the targets. They look like little dudes. They're cardboard. again, I'm novice enough. There
They
are
look like little dudes.
they're like IDPA and USPSA or something like that. Gosh, people are gonna just they're gonna be like, that all that information's wrong. But there's like, the really competitive shooting competitions, they use these targets, and the targets have zones. So like there's a head box, and in the head box, the ones that I know are like the 0. So like it's like the small circle in the middle for the head, and then there's in the chest, there's like a spot. So you have like, that would probably be the A zone, and I think this one, the small one, would be the A zone for the head. And then this chest gets bigger, right? And then there's a bigger circle, and then there's a bigger circle. So I'm guessing,
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, I don't know exactly which ones are which, but I know that they're basically talking about you just need to be accurate in those smaller zones, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that makes complete sense, that the zone would widen at 150
Right.
yards as opposed to 15.
Right.
And you still have to hit that at 80%. So when they say extreme physical duress, coming in as a fitness person, do you deem it physical distress or duress, or do you think that's where your strength was?
Yeah, so let's see. There are times, I don't feel like I've ever redlined. Like you can allow yourself to redline in CrossFit, right? Because you don't have to concentrate or do anything. So I don't let myself get to that point in the physical fitness part. So to me, yes, it is physical duress, because there are times I get to the shooting barricade and I'm having to shoot left-handed, and it's taking more concentration, it's taking more time, and I'm trying to hold everything up. And you don't want to forget to breathe, but people do hold their breath when they're trying to fire, because they're trying to steady themselves and steady the rifle or steady their pistol. But that's the worst thing that you can do. And I've caught myself doing that. And so then I'm like instead of shooting now, I have to put my rifle down and take a few breaths, and I put my rifle back up. So that's something I'm working on. But yeah, there are times when I feel like it is physical duress. There are other times I feel like it wasn't so bad. Sometimes.
So you have gone to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
You have won the 2020 High Rocks online competition, I believe it was. And now you're doing tactical games.
Just a jack of all trades there, Scott.
Do you get bored? Do you get bored easily? Or
I think honestly what it is, there's this like need to like prove myself to myself.
Right. Yeah.
And I just, because I've always told myself, like, you're a go-getter, you're strong-willed, you have mental toughness. And then it's like, I have to prove that to myself. And the other thing is, not that I get bored easy, but I want to feel like I'm growing.
Yeah. What's
like,
next?
I don't like when I'm just kind of doing the same redundant thing, or if I'm just doing a 9-to-5 job and I'm just going to work and coming home, going to work. Like, to me, I'm like, what am I doing to push myself? What am I doing to make myself uncomfortable so that I can grow? Because the only time you grow is when you're uncomfortable, right? And then you get better. And so, I don't know, there's just this like weird thing inside me that I just have to always be in a growing state, I guess. I like challenging myself and learning.
I think that that's a drive too. Like, you have a drive in you that, makes you want to achieve those things and to grow and do that. If you didn't have it, you would be satisfied with just doing a 9-to-5 type job and coming home and maybe being somewhat complacent. I mean, not that people who work 9-to-5 are complacent, but there is this drive that it's driving you to continue to fight more and grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's just how it is, I guess. And it helps that I really, it helps that I'm doing it in an avenue that I like, right? Like, I love physical fitness. Even if I wasn't competing, even when I wasn't competing, I was still fitnessing pretty hard. People would say, like, you're not competing for anything? And I'm like, well, I just like being in my garage and like challenging myself, like, and, pushing weights, running. So.
I loved how you put it, though, that you're always trying to grow and get better. I kind of think that's why I jumped into this podcast world. It's something that I really loved, and it gives me an avenue to push myself to new limits.
Yeah.
So I totally see that with you. Of the three, what is the most satisfying for you? Is it whatever is the present?
Of the three, which one? Of the three competitions?
So of CrossFit, High Rocks, Tactical, what is the most satisfying, or is it whatever you are focused on in the present?
Well, I want to say, I don't know. I feel like it must be the present because I didn't know. Because I would say the tactical, my first instinct was to say the tactical games, what I'm doing now. But I'm like, but is that the present? So then I'm thinking, when I was doing CrossFit, I was happy, but actually I just felt a little insane. I felt very out of balance. I didn't have time to do anything other than train and CrossFit and eat for the CrossFit, whatever competition I was doing. And maybe it's because I went through that and how rigorous that really was that helped me build a good foundation for this now. Because now I feel like I am competing for fun, for my enjoyment. Whereas before I felt like I was competing only to prove myself to myself. Like you're only good if you make first place. You're only good if you podium or you go to the next CrossFit Games. And then when I didn't make CrossFit Games in 2019, I was like, that year burnt me out. And I was going to do one more competition in 2020. And then I was headed to the West Coast Classic and they canceled that because of COVID. And then that's when I was like, I took a hiatus from CrossFit because I was just like, so now that kind of built a foundation for this. And man, I don't know. I'm going to say the tactical games. I am having fun. It's exactly where I should be for my career. Like it helps get me better for my daily job. And I don't know, it's a lot of fun. It really is. Shooting guns is fun. Shooting guns is fun and fitness is fun. Like, even if you I would recommend this sport to anybody. It's just fun. It's so fun. And yes, there's fitness involved, but it's not like CrossFit fitness. There's not gymnastics. There's not really, really tons of big, heavy weights that really hurt your body. Like, pretty much anybody can do this. There's all different divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you may not know the answer to this, but Dave Castro always talks about going to shooting competitions. Is what he does different than the tactical games?
Yeah, but he's like legit. Dave's legit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He's a sniper.
Right, I was about to say he's a sniper.
Yeah, and I didn't know this, but I think his daughter is freaking good too. Like, she's really good. That would be pretty cool one day, maybe to go to his ranch and like shoot with him. But what he does is different. It's just a different type of shooting competition. I've never entered into a rifle or a sniper competition. It looks probably similar where they have like stages and they have to do different things in each stage and it earns them points. I'm not sure how his competition works, but it is different. I don't think that there's any like fitness involved. I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
So here's my last question for tactical games, and that is, of the CrossFitters who have jumped into tactical games, and the people I know of are Jacob Hepner and Margot. Mm-hmm. Are you the best?
No. No, Jacob's the best. He's good. And Margot, she just did her first one and I can't wait to see what else she can do. We all know that she's super fit and she was definitely giving me a run for my money at Phoenix. I don't know how long she's been shooting. Maybe it's been a while, maybe it hasn't been a while, but I think her shooting, she knows how to train. So I can only see it getting better. So I think that she could do some pretty significant things too. Kalarina's been around forever. I think her shooting's only increasing and she's very, very fit herself. But I would say Jacob's the best.
I would say that Margot is the only person I know more bored than you.
She has like businesses and stuff that she tends to like.
Well, she competed in long drive golfing. I don't know if you know, like in college, she rode those Hawaiian canoes, like 50-mile races.
Yeah.
Like she's done so many different things.
let me tell a story about Margot here really quick.
Yeah.
Remember in 2018 when we did the marathon row?
Yep.
That girl, she like finished just as fast as some of the guys did. Like on the marathon row.
Most of the guys.
Yeah.
I remember I'm like rowing and dying, and I had my eyes closed for like an hour as I'm rowing. And I remember just hearing people like getting off the row, and they're like, some other dude, like, we'll just say Cole Sager finishes the marathon run. I'm like, oh, that must be nice, because I'm over here rowing the same amount. Like, I got half an hour left. But then like Margot finishes, I'm like, that girl, she rode so fast. She's so fit. She, like, it's crazy. And she's so nice. Like, I met her at Phoenix. Wonderful person. She fits right into the tactical games community and mindset of just being like a good competitor. Like, you can be competitive, but be a good person first.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't have to be
take care of the people beside you. It's not, you don't need to crush anybody to the ground. Like, you don't need to not talk to anybody. And you know what I mean? So tactical games, like, we weed those people out, I would say. You got to have a good attitude. You got to be a good person, humble, work hard.
Well, I'll match your Margot story with, before I had the podcast, before like anybody knew who I was, I met Margot at the Arnold in like 2017 or 2018.
Was she like on stage?
No. Just with the Rogue, I bet.
No, she was in the Rogue booth, just in the Rogue booth. But then she started announcing Strongman. So she comes like every year. And then in the following year, 2018, I come up and she remembered my name. She remembered I was with my wife. She remembered all this stuff a year later, and I am nobody. And I have talked to so many people where they say the exact same thing about her.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person.
Yeah.
You can't remember that much about people and not care.
It's true.
And she's an awesome person, and so are you. So I think that's a cool thing that you guys are in this together, taking on the TTG, or I shouldn't say the TTG, because T is the.
Yes.
Yeah. The tactical. Yeah. TTG.
So I don't want to keep you too long. Thank you so much for taking time out to do this with us.
Problem.
Yeah.
And so walking us through this new sport that we didn't know much about at all. And I'm going to start watching now. Are there ways to watch these events, or are they not there yet?
Not there yet. Again, it's growing, and it is growing rapidly. I think it's gaining traction. I think people are starting to spot it. More people are talking about it. We're getting more competitors coming in, and I think more sponsors want to come in. So, I did have a discussion with Jake one night, and it sounds like they are already trying to figure out ways to do stuff like that to make it easier for people to watch. Dave Castro came in to CrossFit, and he created that system where they move the markers and stuff like that, so you can kind of tell where people are in a workout. Sometimes it's hard to watch a tactical games even when you're there at the event, because what you can see is the workout part, but then we all go down range to the barricade, and then we fire even further down range. And so for people watching even live, how they can tell who's in the lead is just by fitness. You can't, but really the score is fitness plus all the misses. So if they could see the targets, then people could really be like, oh, okay, this person's first, but man, they're missing everything. So maybe that person over there, they're making everything, and they're just right behind her. You know what I mean? So they're coming up with ways to make it more spectator friendly. And I don't know how
they do it in the Olympics.
Yeah. So it's finding ways.
The biathlon. They show the red or yellow or whatever, whether you hit it or didn't.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like they've already come up with ideas about what they would like to do, but it's just implementing them probably and having the money to do it. And so right now the answer is no, they don't do a lot of like live anything. Maybe they will one day, but so you just have to get on. You can watch their Instagram. They do like little videos about like what had happened. And they'll make little posts right now, but unfortunately there is no way for somebody to watch it online at the moment. Yeah. But I think it's coming.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for jumping on. You're always a treat. We love having you on. We consider you a dear friend of the show, and thank you so much for always having some time for us.
Yeah, no problem.
Holiday. Sorry.
What was that?
I said, have a good holiday season.
Thank you. You guys too. I always love talking to you guys. You guys are so much fun, and it's easy to talk to you. So we always have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks a bunch and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas.
Yes.